How would you feel if you saw crowds storm and break down the doors of the British Parliament, kill 5 cops, injure 145? I think you'd wonder. That's what the rest of the world saw.
Yes, Joe Biden addressing foreigners while President of the United States, saying that on January 6th, 5 police officers were killed. That's what the President of the United States said. He's very severely mentally impaired, very severely mentally limited. He's got the short limousine. You see this? They brought out the short limousine for him. Because his brain, she's a no good. That brain of his, she's a broke. Ass a no good. Happy Friday and welcome. And yesterday we learned that there were 26 FBI confidential informants in the crowd on January 6th. Only 3 of them were told to be there by the FBI, but they got so many confidential informants, the FBI does, that 23 of them were just randomly in the crowd, apparently. Just happened to be there. But we need to know the steps that were taken by each and every one of the 26. And the news media says, oh, see, this proves that Trump was lying. And Republicans were lying. Trump supporters were lying because they said FBI agents were in the crowd. They weren't FBI agents. They were just paid confidential human informants working for the FBI. So they're employees of the FBI, but they're not FBI agents. They didn't go to the FBI Academy. And that's supposed to provide us with some form of comfort. Happy Friday, and welcome back. We remain at 888-630-9625. The Department of Justice Inspector General report released yesterday, nearly 4 years later, and they finally got around to saying, oh, yeah, we had 26 guys in the crowd, but they're not academy grads and FBI agents. They're just agents of the FBI, as long as you go by the dictionary definition of agents. Isn't that amazing? Which can be a person who acts on behalf of another person or group. The other group in this case is the FBI. And so these 26 people are agents, even though they're not FBI agents. They're agents of the FBI. But there was a funny story that appeared yesterday that made me laugh because it's about how mentally distraught the Democrat Party is. And boy, I got to say, there's an FBI story that is a wackadoodle-doo, and that's nuts. And the Democrat Party, the news media, they're out there lying to us now, saying, gosh, no, there were no FBI agents on the thing. They weren't undercover agents. They were just agents in the employ of the FBI. And so we're now not going to have this semantic debate in the United States because the lie is so big that Joseph Goebbels would blush at what the Democrat Party gets away with in the United States every filthy day. But there is a new Fox News poll out that made me laugh today. And we also have a drone update for you because the drones, a growing number of drones, and the news media and the Democrats, but I repeat myself, the government, the media representing the state, and the government at all times, as long as the Democrats are in charge. Watch, the news media is just about to become anti-government again. When Trump is inaugurated on the 20th of January, the news media will instantly become anti-government. Well, let me get to this poll because it made me laugh a little bit today. Fox News poll, they love their colons. Voters feel hopeful post-election, want Trump to focus on inflation. A month after Donald Trump's presidential victory, more voters feel positive than negative about the election results. Well, that makes sense since he won the election and everything. A month after Donald Trump's presidential victory, more voters feel positive than negative about the election results. In a new Fox News poll, voters were given a list of words, this is a new polling technique, to describe how they feel about the election outcome. And at least half say they're hopeful, 54%, or relieved, 50%, and just under half, 48%, feel excited. About 4 in 10 say depressed, 40%, or angry, 39%, while half are scared, 46%, or surprised, 50%. Now, all of that's kind of irrelevant because that's the entire electorate right there. But when you break it out by party, Republicans versus Democrats, this is where it gets funny. Kind of funny. But, I think they're going to be going through a lot of fentanyl. There might be self-immolations. I keep thinking that there might be another Jonestown on the Mall in Washington, D.C., with Democrats doing themselves in by the hundreds or even the thousands. But here's the Fox News poll broken out by party. Listen to this. Most Republicans feel hopeful, 91%. That's pretty normal, I've got to say, because when you're conservative, you're a more positive person. When you're a leftist, you just want to murder the whole world. Oh, yeah, we got CEO updates for you, too. Got the drones, got the CEOs, got the FBI. But listen to this poll. Most Republicans feel hopeful. 91% of Republicans feel hopeful. 90% of Republicans feel relieved. 86% of Republicans feel excited. Now listen to Democrats because, again, they had a list of words to choose from. So Republicans are hopeful, relieved, and excited. 91%, 90%, 86%. Democrats, on the other hand, are scared. 77%. Angry. 69%. Or depressed. 68%. That reminds me of Katie Porter's 9-year-old daughter when she found out that the earth is on fire and we're all going to die soon. How did she feel about that, Michael? She felt angry.
The earth is on fire and we're all going to die soon.
Naturally.
And I asked her how that made her feel, and she said it made her feel angry.
See, they're all angry, and they're a death cult. They're a suicidal death cult. They are Jonestown. I honestly, I'm waiting for, they've got some big psychotic mental illness gathering on the Mall, and I think I might go down there and set up a table and sell Kool-Aid. What do you think? Sell the grape Kool-Aid? That'd be kind of funny. They'd be clueless, of course. Yeah, so Republicans, 91% hopeful, 90% relieved, 86% excited. Democrats, 77% scared, 69% angry, 68% depressed. If you have any Democrats in your family and you care about them, you might want to put them on suicide watch right now, like Jeffrey Epstein. And make sure that the cameras are turned on and they're rolling. And if you got guards outside, make sure they're not on break all the time. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. So isn't that amazing? The Republican, and this is perfectly normal. This is perfectly ordinary. For Republicans to be hopeful, excited, relieved, 91%, 86%. Democrats scared, angry, and depressed. Just perfect. Or if you really don't care about the family member or coworker, maybe tell them that fentanyl is the best thing for depression. And then, all right, I'm kidding, of course, because we don't really want to, all of that. Isn't that amazing? I love that. All right, so back to the, after the funny poll about the ridiculous Democrats, 26 FBI informants were in the crowd on January 6th, and only 3 of them were told to be there by the FBI, but they're all on the FBI payroll. So are they agents of the FBI, even though they're not FBI agents? They represent a group. The group is the FBI, or individuals. They're handlers at the FBI as confidential human informants. Isn't that amazing? And the news media says, oh, see, there were no FBI agents in the crowd. They are filth at CNN. Absolute filth. Just extraordinary. Man, oh, man. All right, let's, Michael, before I get back to, we've got audio and all kinds of good stuff, but let's get to Let's get to another call. And I've got there are so many amazing stories. The Democrats are doing so many amazing things. You know, Luigi Mangione is one of the Democrat assassins. They've assassinated Democrats 3 American presidents, and a communist assassinated the 4th American president that was assassinated. That's John F. Kennedy, of course. But Democrats assassinated 3 American presidents. They had an assassin show up and shoot Steve Scalise in Alexandria a couple of years ago, wanted to murder an entire baseball team of Republican members of Congress in a mass murder assassination. And they love assassination, but the listen to this. In Seattle, and I want to get back to this too, in Seattle, Washington, traffic signs on the highway, you know, along the highway, they have the big signs that write out words, right? The illuminated traffic signs. And Democrats hacked into the traffic signs in Seattle full of left-wing radicals, you know, sacking, looting, plundering, burning, attacking the police, defunding the police. But the traffic signs, big, huge, you know, 15-foot long with the big lights, one less CEO on one of the giant traffic signs, followed by many more to go. So the Democrat Party is a murderous, homicidal death cult. And I just don't think there's any way around that. One less CEO, Seattle, a street sign, Highway 99 at Dexter Avenue. Many more to go. And Luigi Mangione has been made the Democrat Party's Person of the Year to counter the Time Magazine Person of the Year being Donald Trump. The Democrat Party is not on the side of civilization. They're the left. I already hear AOC talking about it, too. Amazing stuff. Yeah, and there are Democrats all over the country threatening insurance companies, threatening murder, threatening CEOs. Because the Democrat Party they're the left, and the left is a violent death cult. They have been for 100 years. For how long have I been talking about this? How many times do I have to say it? All right, let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Justin, calling from Wilmington, North Carolina. Justin, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris. I've noticed you're talking about this, the general.
Yeah, January 6th, the Department of Justice Inspector General report. Yeah, 26.
Inspector General report.
Right.
Talking only about the FBI, but how many government agencies do we have? How many confidential informants were working for Nancy Pelosi under, the Capitol Police? How many DEA? How many DHS? I mean, I think the report is misleading and hollow and empty. And I've been thinking for years that Ray Epps probably worked as a Capitol Police special agent directly for Nancy Pelosi. But, I don't give Nancy Pelosi a whole lot of credit, but I believe that, there were many government, federal government people.
You raise very important and fascinating questions, and you're 100% right. And I didn't raise this myself, and I wish that I had. Justin, you're 100% right. Is the Department of Justice IG talking specifically about the FBI? They say, oh, yeah, the FBI had 26 guys in the crowd. I'm going to assume they're all men because why wouldn't I? And so they got 26 guys in the crowd, and the media says, see, no FBI agents in the crowd. That is so filthy, so corrupt, so dishonest that it's astonishing. And you are 100% right. Well, since the FBI has all these confidential informants, what about the Department of Homeland Security? What about CIA? How many intelligence community confidential informants are operating in the United States of America, may have infiltrated, even though they're prohibited by law, but forget about that because they declare it to be a national security threat and all rules are off. But, Justin, you raise excellent questions, make great points that I should have made myself. Thank God for you. That's what I have to say. How about Justin? Isn't that 100% right? And how many other federal agencies are there? And what about Nancy Pelosi and the Capitol and the U.S. Capitol Police with Nancy Pelosi as the Speaker of the House, an extremely corrupt individual? Honestly. Justin, great call. Thank you very much for that wonderful point. Very important point. One agency had 26 paid informants in the crowd, even though they only asked 3 to show up. And then 23 showed up of their own volition, on their own accord, not being directed by the FBI, but they're still in the employ of the FBI. And what about Department of Homeland Security? And what about Nancy Pelosi? And the list goes on. And this is sleight of hand by the IG, Michael Horowitz, and then our news media takes it from there, and they fully corrupt the entire discussion. Thank God for me. That's all I've got to say. This Christmas, as we celebrate the gift of life, we know whose life, you have an opportunity to share that same gift with a mother and her baby. Imagine a lovely young woman facing an unplanned pregnancy, feeling alone, shocked, unsure what to do. She's searching for hope, and that's where Preborn Ministries come in. Preborn Ministries. Listen, when Valeria found out that she was pregnant, she was beyond terrified. Valeria began to search for an abortion immediately and called a nurse at a Preborn Network clinic who walked her through her options. Choice. Remember, choice. Including the true reality of ending a baby's life, her own baby's life, with the abortion and the abortion pill. And when she heard that, she knew that she couldn't end her unborn child's life. So Valeria chose life, and now she has a beautiful little girl that she loves very much. This Christmas, for just $28, you can help save a life, an innocent, helpless little life. And thanks to a special matching grant, your gift will be doubled by Preborn. So all you have to do is donate. Donate by dialing pound 250. You dial pound 250, and the keyword, when prompted, will be baby. The keyword is baby. Dial pound 250, the keyword baby, or go online to Al Gore's amazing internet to preborn.com/plant. That's preborn.com/plant. A great Christmas message. And we're at 888-630-9625. That is, Justin, great stuff. You're absolutely right. 100% right. Thank God for Justin from North Carolina. Man, oh man. Yeah, we've got updates on the CEO killer cult, that is the Democrat Party, because they're nuts. January 6th, Joe Biden, Duke Lacrosse, vindication at long last. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Bom, 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 bom. Yeah, the Democrats love murder. Oh, what do you hear? AOC made a video yesterday. She is not bright. Boy, is she not bright. It's kind of insulting to people who aren't bright to say that she's not bright. And she's babbling almost incoherently. I didn't have insurance until I was a member of Congress. It's an act of violence. And she's justifying and legitimizing, just like Elizabeth Warren, acts of violence against CEOs. Like these street signs on the highway in Seattle. One CEO down, many more to go. Now, the bloodthirsty ghouls of the Democrat Party that love murder and assassination of CEOs, for example, the left has murdered 4 American presidents. There have been 4 American presidents murdered, assassinated. 3 of them Republicans, murdered by Democrats, starting with the first Republican president ever, Abraham Lincoln, of course, murdered by an actor, say no more. And the only Democrat ever murdered as president of the United States was John F. Kennedy, and he was shot in the head by a communist. And the Democrats argue, no, it was the deep state. And now we know that they are the deep state, so you can't rule that out anymore. And release the CIA documents on the JFK assassination, for the love of Mike. Congressman Steve Scalise was shot and wounded by James Hodgkinson, a volunteer for the Bernie Sanders presidential campaign, who was inspired to hate in part by the Southern Poverty Law Center, a left-wing front group. And it was a suicide attack, one of many suicide attacks by the Democrat Party. All right. And I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago that they're a violent party. They're the party of terrorism, America's oldest terrorist group, the White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, created by a statewide leader of the Democrat Party, Nathan Bedford Forrest, who was an ancestor of Forrest Gump, by the way, according to the movie. Actually, true, it's actually in that movie. That his ancestor was Nathan Bedford Forrest. But never mind that. And they're the party of the Symbionese Liberation Army and the Students for a Democratic Society and the Black Panthers and they're racists. And let's see how many more. The Weather Underground, the Weathermen, and lots of left-wing terror groups that have murdered and robbed armored cars. And usually they get tenure at major American universities. Remarkable stuff. And I just shared with you also out of Seattle, Washington, the highway signs, Highway 99 near Dexter Avenue in Seattle yesterday. The big highway signs that usually tell you, construction 2 miles ahead, things like that. And the big sign with the light bulbs in it. One less CEO, many more to go. And Cairo TV, Kiro in Seattle, covered the story.
Residents like Kelly Beebe say they never expected to see something like this in reference to a man being murdered.
It's shocking, really, that this is where our country seems to be going.
Democrats.
I don't like at all that the dialogue in this country has gotten so violent on both sides, and that this seems to be what people think is a solution.
Yeah, well, and, in addition to 4 American presidents being assassinated, none by a conservative or by a Republican, 3 Democrats, 1 communist for presidential assassinations. Gerald Ford was shot at twice. Ronald Reagan was shot. Donald Trump was shot. You see a pattern emerging here of any kind? Because I do. Isn't that amazing? And now they're assassinating CEOs. And Luigi. Hey, Luigi, what do you say? What do you know? And Luigi, he assassinated, and now, one less CEO, many more to go. In New York City, there are posters that have been distributed around the city that are pro-murder, pro-assassination posters because Democrats love the idea of murdering CEOs. Isn't that amazing? The headlines, wanted CEO posters and other threats emerge after Luigi Mangione arrest. Even NBC Fake News has felt compelled to do the story. Well, they've all got a crush on the killer, and they want to date him. They want their daughters to date him. They want their sons to date him. The killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson has given rise to threats against healthcare industry workers. I like the use of the Soviet language, workers. CEOs are workers now. Doctors are workers now. Surgeons, brain surgeons, nurses are workers, according to the Democrat Party, because they've become communists. So they've adopted the communist lexicon. So listen to the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson has given rise to threats against healthcare industry workers and executives, as well as police officers involved in the case. Even the McDonald's in Pennsylvania, where an employee spotted a Luigi and called the police, who the Democrats want to defund because they love crime and criminals. Even that McDonald's is getting threats and calls for boycotts, but they're getting threats too. So NBC Fake News reports business executives, health insurance industry employees, and law enforcement officers have reported facing threats and harassment following the capture this week of the man charged with the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The brazen killing on a New York City street a week ago, though widely condemned by political and business leaders. They start with the lie in the second sentence because they lie all the time. So wanted posters appear in New York City listing healthcare CEOs after shooting. And PIX reporting out of New York City that the wanted posters naming and listing CEOs in the healthcare industry. Also, videos circulating on social media show wanted posters in New York City with photos of healthcare CEOs a week after the fatal shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown Manhattan. Posters spotted near Canal and Center Streets, Lower Manhattan. They've been taken down. The videos posted on TikTok show the posters adhered to an electrical box with photos of Thompson and two other healthcare CEOs. And who was it? It was Taylor Lorenz, the so-called journalist with the Washington Post, the New York Times, and now not with the Washington Post, the New York Times. And she posted a photograph of a woman who's a CEO at a healthcare company, and listed her name, presumably because she wants her murdered, wants her assassinated. I also talked about the fact that in D.C., a friend of mine, a newsman friend of mine, sent me photographs of D.C. where leftists, murderous, bloodthirsty Democrats have put up posters, and it's a screen grab, a freeze frame from the video of a Luigi shooting the CEO Brian Thompson, and it's I'm striking the pose with my right hand extended like I have a pistol in my hand, and it's a photograph in the dark, early morning hours, Manhattan, and he's pointing the pistol at Brian Thompson just as he's about to shoot him, and those freeze frames have been put up again on electrical boxes and things in Washington, D.C., glued to things, and they're like 1 foot by 18 inches, and the word hope, the giant word hope, at the bottom of these posters, because just like in Seattle, one CEO down, many more to go. It says one less CEO, many more to go. The Democrat Party is a bloodthirsty lot. They're anti-capitalist, they're anti-success, anti-CEO, anti-healthcare for all of its shortcomings. The best healthcare system in the world. Wealthy Canadians leave Canada and come to the United States to get their health care, if, in particular, when it's a life-threatening situation. Big lefty woman who was a close friend, wink, wink, of Bill Clinton, lefty political leader in Canada, had breast cancer. She was a big champion of the Canadian socialized healthcare system. She found out she had breast cancer, and she secretly absconded, went to California again and again to get her medical treatment and paid for it out of pocket. Another big lefty in Canada politician had to get heart surgery and had to wait in line in Canada for like 6 years or something. He went to Miami to get his heart surgery done because he decided he wanted to live. Crazy as that may sound. This is the Democrat Party in the United States. They're a criminal organization. Alexandria, well, actually, let's go to Elizabeth Warren first, because we played this Elizabeth Warren already. Elizabeth Warren, senator, not a Native American, but she lied about being a Native American for many years. And she went on the television, MSDNC, and she was justifying, legitimizing, making excuses for a Luigi killing Brian Thompson, a father of two.
And look, we'll say it over and over. Violence is never the answer. This guy gets a trial who's allegedly killed the CEO of United
Allegedly.
Health.
But
you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
But you can only, the anchor agrees. But all right, violence is wrong. But is the key word. Whenever a Democrat, a leftist, radical extremist like Pocahontas over here, whenever they say, well, violence is never the answer, violence is always wrong. But, the only thing that matters is the part after the word but, right? Because now she's just dismissed the notion that violence is never the correct response, violence is never the answer. But, and she says, but you can only push people so far, and then they have to react. And that is to legitimize, to justify the murder of Brian Thompson by a Luigi. And they love the murder, and they love the murderer. The Democrat Party is not democratic, and I wouldn't go to any of their parties, not just because of the spread of monkeypox at their parties, but because they're crazy. And who do you think shooting all the people across the United States, America, in Chicago and Baltimore and Washington, D.C.? You think Republicans are shooting all these people? The Democrat Party is shooting all these people, and street violence all over the place. Don't be ridiculous. The Democrats are fighting to get the vote to everyone incarcerated in every prison and every jail in the United States of America because they know that prisons and jails are filled with Democrat voters. And there is another Democrat senator seeking to justify the killing by saying violence is wrong, but you can only push people so far. You can only push people so far, and then people have to react. And if they react by killing you, well, then, you've pushed them too far. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is an extremely dim-witted woman. She's bushy-tailed, though. She is bushy-tailed. And the Democrats, again, from Gavin Newsom to AOC, Democrats, if they want to have sex with somebody, they want to vote for them to be in elected office in politics. AOC, also with it's always violence is never justified. But, and again, whenever you get a but in the middle of this, and this is AOC's but, the only thing that matters is what is said after the word but. Here's AOC.
This is not to comment, and this is not to say that an act of violence is justified, but I think for anyone who is confused or shocked or appalled, they need to understand that people interpret and feel and experience denied claims as an act of violence against them.
It's an act of, if there's a denied claim. Now, here's something else that we learned yesterday. Luigi was never a customer of United Healthcare, never had health care through United Healthcare, never had a relationship with the company whose CEO he murdered, he assassinated. They did not deny his claim. They have nothing to do with the Luigi. But never mind that, because, Democrats. House Democrats broadly denounce United Healthcare CEO shooting after Warren remarks. Because Elizabeth Warren, violent is bad. Nobody's condoning this. But, and here's AOC with violence bad, but, and the word but was in there. When you deny someone's claim, that's an act of violence. And an act of violence should be met with an act of violence. That justifies it, that legitimizes it. So Senate, House Democrats justifying the assassination of a CEO. Street signs in Seattle, posters in New York and in Washington, justifying and calling for more murder.
People go homeless over the financial devastation of...
In your district.
Of a diagnosis that doesn't get addressed, or, the amount that they're going to have to cover with a surprise bill and things like that.
What happened to Obamacare?
When we kind of talk about how systems are violent in this country, in this passive way.
We do?
Our privatized healthcare system is like that for a huge amount of Americans.
It's violence. It's privatized. She's a communist. She's too stupid. I don't think she could spell communist. But she's advancing the cause of communism, AOC.
I did not have health insurance until I got elected to Congress.
You're an idiot.
I was running. When I first ran for Congress, I had to sit in a free clinic.
Oh, no. Was it Planned Parenthood? Because I know they do a lot of great women's health. They do a lot of great women's health things. Private. She's espousing communism. Again, wealthy Canadians flee there like it's on fire, and it often is on fire in Canada, and they come to the United States to get their health care because they don't want to die, and they don't want to wait in line for 6 years. And when they're rich, they get on their private jets, and they go to California and to Miami to get their breast cancer treatments and their heart surgeries because they know better than to die under their own health care system. Isn't that amazing? So the Democrats are advocating, they are the party of the first American Civil War, as it's now called. Remarkable. You know that nothing delivers comfort and joy in the holiday season or any other time of year quite like the unrivaled and delicious flavor of Omaha steaks. Omaha Steaks, guaranteed perfection in every bite. And right now, you can save on unforgettable gifts for your friends at work, your family members, with 50% off the entire website at omahasteaks.com. Plus, you get another $30 off with the promo code PLANT because you hang with me. Growing up in Chicago, I always envied my neighbors. They get the deliveries of Omaha Steaks. Dad would be grilling in the backyard. I'd sit by the edge of the property line, hungry. Why can't I have an Omaha steak? Now I have Omaha Steaks delivered to my house. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and a whole lot more. Save 50% off the entire website for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, because you hang with me, you get another $30 off your order with the promo code PLANT. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 American off with the promo code PLANT. A minimum purchase may apply. Visit omahasteaks.com for all the delicious details. Yes, sir. Yeah, so the Democrats, they're out of the closet. They love murder. We don't. Al-Qaeda used to say, we love death more than you love life. Al-Qaeda might have to sue the Democrat Party for poaching their slogan.
You know, I ate when I was a waitress and a bartender, and I eat as a member of Congress. It's called a job.
There are stories all over the country now. From Seattle in Florida, woman arrested for threatening health insurance company after it reportedly denied her medical claims. According to her, I'm not sure we can take her word for it. She said, "You people are next." And she wrote, "Delay, deny, depose," which is what a Luigi wrote on the shell casings, that the bullets that he used to murder Brian Thompson. And AOC says denying health insurance is an act of violence, and that people will have to respond to an act of violence with an act of violence. In New York, there are wanted posters around the city. In D.C., pictures of the shooting taking place and the word hope. Elizabeth Warren says you can only push people so far, and then they start to take matters into their own hands. Hey, you know, Senator, a lot of people are furious with the Congress, too. AOC, a lot of people are very unhappy with the Congress, with the Senate, with the House of Representatives. You think people should be taking out their anger? Huh?